Welcome to the 24-Hour Woman Show with Cheryl Liew-Chng.
Hey there, this is Cheryl, CEO of LifeWorks, founder of the 24hourwoman.com, and welcome. I am so glad that you are here with us. You might notice that some things are a little bit different. You might hear some pipe-in music. That's because I'm here right now in London with Deri. I did not want to miss the chance to speak with him in person of some major changes that's happening, and particularly for us as women, huge opportunities that is available for us right now, and what can I do about it? That has often been the question I've been asked, and I'm going to fill this question to Deri, the strategy man. And you might have noticed that he was our guest in one of our challenges. So if you have not been to the 24-Hour Woman 7-Day Challenge, check it out. My question this time around, coming around to have this conversation, is the trends are changing around careers and how one manage careers. And I know you're big on taking adventures, right? And your adventures are a huge part of your life. How can we develop a perspective or an attitude that our career, stages there are many stages, and it's long, it's much longer than it used to be. The corporate ladder is a little bit different from what it used to be. How can we take a big adventure attitude towards managing our career, and should managing our career now become a little bit more project-like?
Okay, so I'm the strategy man. I'm an adventure guy. So people who don't know me, adventure and business kind of big both parts of my life. And I've done 6 marathons across the Sahara Desert. I've climbed the highest mountain in the world. I've done an Ironman. So adventure really does run through my blood and veins. But I take that adventure into all areas of my life. This is why Cheryl and I were having this conversation. And I believe, which is my first book, which is Life's Great Adventure. And I believe life is a great adventure. Now, when we're kids, I know your kids are growing up a bit now, but my kids are still a little young, they're little adventurers. So when you're 2 and 3 and 4 years old, life's an adventure. And I've got to have reins on my 2-year-old at the moment. She wants to go off everywhere, right? So we're born as little adventurers, and somewhere along the way we lose it. So I don't know where it was for you, but somewhere in that journey, and as soon as I got into the educational system, I lost my adventure. And it was only in my early 30s really where I got my adventure back again. And adventure is nothing other than, if you look it up in the dictionary, I always like going to the dictionary, right? Because the dictionary never lies. So adventure means an exciting undertaking. Now, that's kind of the essence of a career, isn't it? Because if it's not an exciting undertaking, what is it? What are you doing it for? And I think a lot of us are doing it for other reasons. I think a lot of us, and by the way, I advise in the entrepreneurial world a lot as well, but I've come out of the corporate space, so I understand both markets. And in the words of Stephen Covey, the great late Stephen Covey, he said, you climb the ladder of success, which is a little bit more relevant to the corporate ladder. You climb the ladder of success, reaching the top to find it was leaning against the wrong wall.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we talk about building towards the legacy that you desire, that you personally be proud of. Yeah, so that's part of the journey.
And that hit me right between the eyes in my late 20s when I read that book. And I realized that I was doing my corporate career for the wrong reasons. I was doing it for the ego. I was doing it because somebody else told me I should do it. I could do it to make my parents proud. All of that bullshit, right, that we kind of wrapped up in. And everyone's got a different element of it. And I swore at that point in my life that I would not live someone else's life. I wouldn't live for somebody else. This career that you've chosen, wherever you are, whatever corporate thing you are, it's time to stop and think again. And it's the same in business, same in entrepreneurship. For me, it's going to be the same in career, which is we need to go back to the why. We need to go back to the essence of this. So before we build a career, because most people are on that hamster wheel of career, right? This ladder, but the ladder doesn't stop. The ladder goes round and round and round and round. And you've got to stop the hamster wheel. You've got to step off the wheel and just think, why am I doing this? Because if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, then you might find you'd end up in the wrong place. And so for me, my adventures are super important to me. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to run a marathon or I'm going to do this. And a lot of people never do. Just like a lot of people say, I want to be this career or I want to become CEO, and a lot of people don't make it there. And I think a lot of the reason, apart from mindset, which is a big part of all of this, is the why wasn't big enough. they picked up that I want to run a marathon, but I can't be bothered to go out and run and train and eat properly. Well, you're probably not going to run a marathon then. So the why in the career, once you're passionate and you're excited by it and you really want to do it, then you're on an adventure, and then you can embrace it. And the next step, and when you're climbing a mountain, yes, I'm always about the why, and I'm always about the top, and I'm looking at the summit, but I'm also looking at the next step, because the next step is the most important on the way up and on the way down. So you just need to, if you're fully embraced in this, you can go into it as an adventure, you can get excited about it on a day-to-day. That really frees you up on a day-to-day basis and week-to-week basis. But understand, it's not a linear path. This is why I don't like the ladder. The ladder, everyone's talking about the corporate ladder because it was like this. It's been like this for decades, okay? It isn't that way anymore. And very few actually go up a very that linear path. We're going to go to the side. We might go into a different company. We might come back again. We might go up. We might come down. And we've got to evolve. And sometimes you might have got to a certain level and go, I don't like this. And you might need to take a little step back to go into what you do love to do. So for me, you probably tell my passion. Right? I love adventure. I love business. I love you guys in your careers. Whatever you do, you just got to be loving it. Otherwise, what's the point? Life's too short. And please don't go and build a miserable career and die lonely, right? You just got to live life and live your career with adventure.
There are, it is an adventure, particularly right now where we have the opportunity, if we choose, to dial up, to dial down, to go do something else and come on back and all. But all in all, I want to take the analogy of you going on an adventure and climbing your mountains and all. You talk about purpose. So if I have the big why already and that I'm already in the flow of things, how do you get yourself ready for your big adventure in terms of your gears, your training? I'm sure you have lots of training and all to be done.
Training is key. This is the thing. I think this is the same for career. People look at if we take the Marathon des Sables as an example. Okay, so the Marathon des Sables is one of the toughest foot races on earth. It's 6 marathons back to back across the Sahara Desert, carrying everything you need to survive on your back. Now, that's a tough gig, right? That's not an easy thing to do. So
not something that I would say, coming in immediately.
Well, you're welcome to join me next year, Cheryl. We'll get you trained up. That is something that took me, a year to prepare for in advance. And a lot of people, when I ask in audiences, what do I need to do in order to do that? They just think, you just need to train. You just need to run more, which is true, by the way. And yes, you do need to do a lot of running. Same as a career. A lot of people go, I want to be this, so they just think they need to train more. You just need to, as long as I'm, if I want to be the top in an accountancy firm, as long as I do the technical thing and I just learn more about accountancy, I will be okay. And it's not. In adventure, if I don't get the kit right, if I don't get the water and hydration right, if I don't get the dietary aspects right, if I don't get the mental aspects right and the attitude right, I'm dead. And this is serious stuff. The adventures I do, they're dangerous, right? So I have to de-risk everything. And in a career, it's not just about the technical. So as soon as you're clear, okay, I think, and by the way, it changes. I never intended on being a strategy man. I wasn't saying here when I was 6 years old. I thought, when I grow up, I'm going to be the strategy man. It didn't really dawn on me until I was about 35. So our whys change. So we have to be adaptable to our whys, and you have to check back into that regularly. But once you're clear and you start to make movements towards it, you've got to understand what is the bigger why. What are all the components that are going to get me there? And in the corporate world, do not underestimate attitude. Do not underestimate influence, communication. There's all the softer skills and the wider skills and the bigger skills, which a lot of people ignore. We were talking about that earlier, weren't we?
Yes,
about the importance of all of these skills. So you've got to just make sure you are equipped fully, mentally. Look at mentors. If someone's there already, look to the mentor figure that who's already there. There's huge things. I've always had mentors in all my life, right? From the moment I left university, I had mentors through the corporate world. Right. And there's clues with those mentors.
So much of what you speak about is the work that we do in Step Up for Women, and I can attest to that. We've just done a feedback session to women who came to our session 2 years ago and just wanted to track their progress and the choices that they've made, and it was just fantastic to hear the great reports that they have, how they have moved up to where they desire to be 2 years ago and where they are right now. and how for some of them the transitions in life took place and how the career was able to move in tandem with the changes in their lives. So it's really about having a career as a big adventure, so you stop having to toil in your career, but to thrive in your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, and upon, for example, getting to the top of the mountain, how do you celebrate? I mean, and I think celebration is a huge part in our career journey, because the career journey is just going to be something that is going to be progressive at different life stage and at different career stages. So, how have you been celebrating?
I think it's important to celebrate regularly, but equally, what you have to understand is, and in my last mountain, I didn't get to the summit, and it's not about the summit. And I think that's a huge analogy on mountaineering. Being on the mountain is enough.
Wonderful.
As long as you're clear on your why and you're on the mountain, that's good enough for me. And just keep taking the next step. It might be around the mountain, it might be up the mountain, it might be down the mountain. But do not get fixated on the summit too much, because if you end up just looking at the summit, then I'm likely to fall down a crevasse on the way, because I need to have a glance at the summit regularly, but I need to be in the present and in the now to take the next steps that I need. So you just, when you celebrate, I celebrate regularly. I set regular milestones for myself. I'm not such a big goal person. I prefer strategy, and there's a difference. But I like to set the big why, I like to set the strategy, and we celebrate regularly. I celebrate weekly, I celebrate daily, I celebrate monthly. So it's important to not, a lot of people I think sacrifice for years and then one day I'll celebrate.
Right.
That's a bullshitty way to do things, I think. Celebrate regularly. We should be celebrating every day. Every day is important, every week's important. And just take the next step you can and celebrate with little things. But most importantly, celebrate the lives you love. That's what it's all about.
Celebrate daily, because every day you're building towards the legacy you want to be leaving behind in your workplace. You know, every single day you're building towards achieving something that you have set out to do because you're passionate about that. So thank you very much, Deri, for sharing with us your adventure and how that actually does play out in the way that we manage our careers right now.
Pleasure.
Right.
Go and live a brilliant adventure and tell me all about it.
My name is Cheryl. I'm going to have a great adventure for the rest of my stay in London. And if you hear the piping music, yes, we are off the studio for this season. I'm just taking in the opportunity to be having conversations with great people like Deri when I'm on this trip in Europe. So till I see you again, my name is Cheryl, CEO of LifeWorks, founder of the 24hourwoman.com. Come on over to the 24hourwoman.com blog and share with Deri and I your thoughts about managing your careers right now. What are some of the challenges and what are some of the mountains that you want to be conquering? I look forward to hearing from you.
Take care.